Hi guys, the other day I covered a video in which my opponent swore at me. Very rude on chess.com, and I think that's the second best feeling in all of chess. But today we're going to look at the best feeling in my opinion. Now, maybe I'm a little bit of a wind-up merchant, but when your opponent accuses you of using an engine, it's just, I love it. It's the best feeling ever. Now, if you actually are using an engine, then, get a life. That's pathetic, right? But yeah, obviously I wasn't, and it's just a very big compliment. So on other video games, if someone says you're a bot, it means you're like running around shooting in the air like silly. But a chess bot is like, high level stuff, right? So I'm getting this Alapin Sicily in this game, and it's later in the game where it accuses me of cheating, so we'll get to it. So with the normal Sicilian, when they take and you recapture with a knight, you're left with one pawn in the center. So that's why I've adopted this more ambitious Alapin Sicilian, really going after the Sicilian and putting two pawns in the center. So now their main move is to obviously play this, because otherwise they're getting steamrolled, right? And I was very surprised to see him not somehow defend this knight. So knight has to go back, and I mean this is clearly better for white. Up a pawn already, and this is a bit of a controversial move, right? So this. I played a game against a subscriber in which he played this move, and I just checked him on the king side and just infiltrated, and it was a quick annihilation. So you got to be super careful when you play this move. Can their queen come in with check? So I did like check this, and actually we're gonna look at the time here, because as part of this guy's accusing me of cheating, we've got to look at the time. So as you can see, I didn't use much time early on, blitzed out these first few moves, and this was the first move here right now in which I started to think, just to check on this diagonal issue. So they develop. I'll hide that chart because it's a little bit ugly. But yeah, you can see my time usage fluctuated quite a lot. So when you're accusing someone of cheating, you should look at that. And I tanked on quite a few moves, so that sort of disproves his little thesis. So here, I just developed the bishop. I maybe wouldn't have played like this normally, but the fact that my king was sort of open, I wanted to just develop with tempi on the king, even if it meant trading off, my bishop for a knight, maybe if knight blocks, and this, maybe I would have traded it off for the knight and just castled, just because my king's a little bit open. But as it went, I just took the bishop, very happy. Castled, which the engine says is bad because they get a check, but I noticed the check doesn't win a piece or anything. And when they allow me to play bishop here, the bishop covers that diagonal, so I'm very happy there, right? So they start to push. Maybe they're looking at pushing on this knight. I just slide my king over, which is like subtle, but it's important to get off this diagonal, I think, in the long run. Engine doesn't like it that much, but so here, just a simple move. Like if you're not sure what to do, if they bring a rook, you bring a rook. It's normally like an easy move you can just whip out, especially if someone like me who struggles with time. So he hits the bishop, which is often a good move if the bishop's got nowhere to go and you win the bishop for a knight. But if the bishop can just slide back, or in this case I went to trade off his strong defender of the king. The engine prefers sliding back, but in either case, if the bishop can slide away and do something productive, like this square looks really nice as well, then you've just misplaced your knight for no reason. And this actually came back and bit my opponent. This was a horrible move. So if I take, it opens up my rook and it closes in their bishop. So it ruins his piece, makes my piece gorgeous, and then I slide back to this gorgeous square for my bishop. So keep an eye on this knight, which is a bit undefended, right? So we've got it's like a good red flag. It should be a red flag for my opponent, but for me, it's a big green flag I'm looking at, right? So I slide back. The engine doesn't like this move. I love this move. I'm defending the center. I'm hitting the knight. It's quite a tricky move. I'm opening up the bishop and the rook all at the same time. Or the rook, anyway. Why does the engine not like this move? I just want to... Because they just go back. So it wasn't a bad move, but maybe I had something better. So the engine prefers just pushing the pawn, which looks absolutely psycho. detaching the pawn from its base, but just maybe putting a bit of a thorn in black's side there. Okay, so anyway, I did this knight move. They come in, and this is what I mean. All right, they didn't see this attack, or maybe they did and they wanted to win the rook for 2 knights, but that's like almost always like a really bad thing, because the knights are so tricky. And at my level, a knight will often win one of the rooks. So like I've got 2 knights playing against 2 rooks. We know there's going to be a fork, right? Especially under time pressure. So I start coming out. This bishop move, I'm thinking maybe I can defend the rook once the knight moves. But yeah, I wasn't too keen on that. Now, I take... God, my light's flashing, guys. I'm going to have to turn this light off. Yes, I take that pawn, and then they take back, and it's hitting my knight, which is a little uncomfortable, but I just slide back, also defending the rook at the same time. I thought about going here, but the thought of putting my knight on the edge of the board looked a bit weird to me, so I centralized it. Take. They hit the loose piece here. Now, maybe I could have gone here, and bishop defends, but I think queen is just nice, and it just defends everything. It looks solid. So here, I think this is their second really big mistake of the game. So they push this pawn, fair enough, trying to open up the rook, right? I go here just getting my knight off the back rank. And then this move here, I really hated. They're playing with a rook against 2 knights. They need to make this rook, they need to prove that this rook is better than 2 knights and make it sing on an open file. I think they had to take, personally. And like, maybe do something with the rook. I'm not sure what the engine says, but practically I think that's your best hope. So I come here, which is just a fork on a pawn and a rook, and I just take that bad boy. I think maybe the queen's going to come and hit the bishop, and even though they play a pawn move and my bishop's safe here, I'm conscious that I'm a little bit better, but I don't want to leave loose pieces around because they're a magnet for tactics. So I just defend the bishop. Just push this pawn, because if here I can't play this, they crack open my structure, my king gets a little vulnerable. So they now come after this knight, which is defended, but I come up anyway, and they miss this idea. I'm just putting the knight on this square. So they do step out of the fork. But now this knight is so strong. This one is the only piece now. And they just play this move instantly, leading to a skewer. So it was around this moment in the game, guys, after I took his rook, played this move, he sort of rashly traded off queens even though he's dead lost. And he said the famous words, "I may not be able to beat the engine you're using, but I can beat you on time." And at this point, I still had a little bit of time left. I had like 2 minutes left. So I just put both my knights on defended squares, and there's just no tactics. See, I played quite a bit different in the opening and the latter portion of the game because of like time issues. I'm just trying to keep everything solid, and then I can just almost pre-move like my king. Just keep it really simple. So I like this move with the pawn, just stopping their king coming in. And then let's just turn the engine off, because at this point you're not trying to play the engine moves. You're trying to not lose on time. You're trying to not give stalemate when you're dead one like this. So I just go up, take the pawn, and this is all about playing as solid as possible. So give a check, come back, another check, come over with the king. And at this point, I was just chuckling to myself about the comments he made. And nice move here, forking. Admittedly, yeah, he takes both knights, but we're up like 5 pawns. So take, get the other knight to a nice defended square, and then you know how this goes, guys. We promote. What is the best feeling in chess, guys? Do you think also? Do you agree with me here? Do you think getting accused of cheating is the best feeling? Let me know in the comments what you love about chess, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.